Hi guys, so today I'm going to do some baking. I'm using this book called Baked in America by Outsider Tart. It's really baked in America, so it's all American recipes. So I'm going to be making chocolate snickerdoodle cookies. I've made them a few times before, but I thought I would show you how to do it and how I do it, and we'll just go from there. So you need, let's see if we can do this. I don't have every ingredient that they're asking for, so I'm substituting some things for other things that I know will work just as well. If not, I'm not saying better, but they'll work. Fair enough. So it says, I'm making half the recipe, so it says you need 12 ounces or 340 grams of flour. It says plain flour or all-purpose. I'm using self-raising, but I know it'll work perfectly fine. 2 ounces or 60 grams of cocoa powder. A teaspoon of cream of tartar. These ones are really handy. They come in little teaspoon sized sachets, so that's really helpful. Half a teaspoon of bicarb of soda. These aren't as handy, but I need it for other things as well, so that's quite good. Kosher salt. I don't know what that is. I read it that it's like kind of not giant pieces of sea salt, but it's not really the really fine one. So I am just going to use our salt grinder, and just it comes out in a normal size. It says you need 1/4 teaspoon. Next up is unsalted butter, which has been softened, and you need 4 ounces or 150 grams. We've already used some of it on another thing, so I'm just going to use this. Again, using half of everything, so these are just the full amounts that you need. And it says it will make 8 large cookies or 24 small cookies. You need 2 large eggs. I don't have large eggs. I'm using free-range medium eggs. I'm just going to use one because, again, half in the recipe. So just eggs. Vanilla extract. It says you need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And last but not least, oh, I forgot the sugar. Whoops. You need 12 ounces or 340 grams of sugar, granulated sugar it says, which isn't, I'm pretty sure you can only use caster sugar for baking, so it's a bit of a difference. And then you also need cinnamon sugar, which it tells you how to make, which is just basically cinnamon, nutmeg, brown sugar and granulated sugar. This book says you need 4 ounces of granulated sugar, which is 115 grams of sugar, 4 ounces of brown sugar, light brown sugar, which I'm again using half of because I only need half of it, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. I do not have freshly grated nutmeg. I am using the jarred kind. It'll be fine, I'm sure. So I've got on with that. I'm just going to move you now, and then we'll be baking. Okay, see you in a bit. Hey again, so you are currently balanced on a jar of enchilada sauce so that you can see what I'm doing down here. You probably won't want to see my face, but first off I'm going to start by making the cinnamon sugar, and to make it easier for myself and for leftovers, I'm going to make it in a little bag, a Ziploc bag. I have kept this in, as long as there's not bits of the cookie left in the bag, which will go off. I've kept the sugar and the cinnamon sugar in a bag for a few weeks and used it a couple of times. It's just handy to do it in a bag, and then you just make it in the baggie. And yeah, so I'm going to get on with that. I'm going to speed everything up, and I may be speaking to Marie on FaceTime or Skype later on, but I'm not sure at the moment. So if you see me talking, I am either singing or talking to Marie. Okay, so I will see you in a little while. Bye. And baggie of cinnamon sugar all shaken up, which was easy enough, and all done. So now onto the baking of the cookies. Funny story with the cocoa powder, as I was getting out the cupboard I picked it up by the lid and the side like this, and the lid popped off, and I'm glad I have lightning reflexes, and for once in my life I actually caught something that was falling, because it would have made the biggest mess on, well, one of the biggest messes I've ever seen probably. Cocoa powder would have been everywhere, so I'm glad I caught that. My butter's not as softened as I'd like it to be, as it says in the packet, because it's been in the fridge, so I'm just going to pop it on a plate and put it in the microwave for a few seconds to soften it up a little bit, and then I'm going to mix it. It's a little bit more melted now, just for ease. finally out of a roll of greaseproof paper we've had since I was about 5. That's when I remember buying it. We're finally out of it. Whoop. Nearly done with the stirring. It takes a lot of effort. You're really supposed to use an electronic whisk, but we don't have one, so I'm using Evie power, and I don't have much of that left because I'm tired. So we're nearly there. It's almost there. Oops. Oopsie. Okay, so once you've got your mixture, you get your cinnamon sugar back out, which is over here, and you roll little balls in your hand, which like shapes you want the cookie. So you can have giant ones, you can have little ones. I do little ones. Make sure they're all like uniform though. And then once you roll them in cinnamon sugar and lay them on a baking sheet, a baking tray with greaseproof paper, and then you dip your fingers in water. Once they're all in there, you dip your fingers in water and press them down a little bit so they're quite thick, but so they're not little balls, so they're just flat. And I'll show you that in a minute. And it gets very, very messy. Okay, so this is made into balls, rolled into the sugar, and then with 2 fingers you press on top to squish them down a little bit so they're not as round. I also sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon sugar on top where my wet fingers have been, just to add a little bit more. Because most of it comes off when you do it with the wet fingers, so makes a big mess. But it tastes good, so we do that. It's made more than I expected. It said that if I did half the recipe, it said I should make 4 big ones or 12 little ones. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's made 11, but I expected to make a lot less than that, so. Okay, I'm going to pop these in the oven at 200 degrees. I think it says for around 12 to 15 minutes, and we'll have a see. Bye! So the clanker has just gone after 15 minutes. Should we see what it look like? Let's have a go. Oh, they look good. And your blood. Okay, so actually I just realised I only put them in for 12 minutes. I'm going to put them in for a further 3 just so they have the full 15 minutes because they need a little bit longer, but only like a tiny little bit. So give them a couple of minutes and then I'm going to eat my lunch, and then this is my dessert. It's going to, not all of them clearly because I, would explode. But I'm going to eat one for dessert, hopefully. Okay, I'll see you later when they're cooked. Bye! They're cooked! I really wish you could smell the smells that come from my kitchen. It's like cinnamony, chocolatey. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I'll just show you them, and then I'm going to let them cool for it says about 10 minutes on the tray, and then put them onto a wire rack so that they don't sweat, and then they can cool down for a bit, and then I'm going to make my lunch, and then I'm going to eat them after I've washed up because pots are all over that way. Okay. Here you go. Don't they look good? They're going to be yummy. Okay, bye-bye. 400